If your home isn't selling, it's not the market, it's something that you're doing wrong. The longer your home sits, the less you will appeal to the buyer and the less money that you will get when you're selling your property. After selling a couple hundred homes myself, I can tell you the 5 big reasons why homes are being on the market and are not selling. And the best part is, I will share with you how do you fix them before it's too late. And at the end, I will share with you that #1 mistake that I see most sellers make when they are selling their home. So make sure that you stay till the end. Let's start with the big one, price. In Southern California, it's taking about 40 to 50 some days to get a home sold. Depends on your area, of course. Buyer knows what the values are at. Especially right now, informations are very transparent. They will be able to shop around like they are buying things on Amazon. If they are buying the same item and one's cheaper, one's more expensive, but it offers the same features and benefit, most of the time people will buy the cheaper one or the better one for more price, right? I've seen this a lot in my career where I've dealt with sellers where they want to list much higher and try to get a better price. And I would say obviously that depends on the market. It is a strategy which, it could work sometime, but a lot of time that may stop the buyer to actually at least go take a look at your home, because buyer, when they are looking for properties, usually they will go online first. And when they go online, they look at the price, they look at the location, they look at the photo and the condition. And if the price is just way too high, they may not even bother to go take a look at the property. So you definitely don't want to list your property too high. Point #2 is bad listing photo. This one I can share with you my experience when I actually first started my career. So when I started my career 17 years ago, I was quite broke. When I was helping my client to take photos for their listings, I just used my cell phone when I first started because I had no budget, I had no money. And hiring somebody to take photos costs a couple $100s. After like a year into the business where I'm able to sell a couple homes, I made it my business standard to start helping my client to take professional photo and hire a professional who was able to take drone shot, 3D shots. So that way clients, meaning the buyers, will be able to see the best side of the property and even look at the interior of the property without actually being the same continent. However, nowadays, even when I look at the multiple listing system, I see listings with quite below average photo where the lighting is off, or the way how they put their furniture, or they didn't declutter. It just, or sometimes the funny part is I will even see like a finger on the top of the photo where maybe the agent was trying to take the photo but they accidentally shook the finger into the photo. Or some of the funnier one would be I see the window frame of a car, which shows me that the agent is taking the photo sitting in the driver's seat. They didn't even bother to go out the car to take the exterior of the property. I would say selling a property in today's market, the 2 key things is the photo and also the price. And we actually covered the price already, but understand that people are visual animal. A lot of time without seeing it, they would not even go see the property. Or if they see it, the first impression give them like a bad vibe to it because of the bad photo, which is totally controllable and fixable. It just sometimes really can hurt the seller in terms of getting them a best price, or actually getting them to sell their property so they can move on to their next destination. So homes with professional photos can double out the views, and with more eyeballs on the property, you could and you very likely will have more buyers walk into your property. More buyers meaning more offers meaning a higher price for you. At the end of the day, that's why you're selling the property for, right? Either fast or either best price, or ideally both. And don't let bad photos ruin that plan. Point #3, which kind of tied into point #2, is having a bad curb appeal. You have no idea, sometimes when I go show a property with my client, and when we're outside, the client get out the car and they look around, they say, let's look at the next property. And sometimes the property is in a decent neighborhood, but the seller may be a little bit careless as far as keeping it nice and clean, or at least welcoming. And or the agent didn't at least kind of advise the seller to do some minor maintenance to the front, because first impression does matter. What I mean by having a great curb appeal, I'm not saying to spend thousands of dollars, to spice up the front yard to make it all crazy in that. But all we need to do is make sure that it's clean, okay, and it's welcoming. If there are trash, clutter, or dead grass, plants, just clean it up. Sometimes it doesn't even cost that money. It's just really like the thought. It's kind of like people, if you don't have a really, really nice car, at least keep it clean. And it's just unfortunate sometimes a nice car, if it's really, really dirty, and it still create a really negative vibe for people that's getting into the car. Wouldn't you agree? Point number 4, too much clutter or too much personalization. I've seen properties where when I walked in, from the outside, everything looks great, okay? But when I walk in, we start seeing there's a bunch of photos, nothing wrong with photos, but when we are having buyers to come in to see the property, a lot of time we want them to visualize them living in the property, and having a lot of our own photos, sometimes would make the buyer feel like, they're just a visitor into the property, and this is not really their home. So I would say it doesn't hurt, then take out a couple photos. I mean, you're gonna be moving anyways, so just kind of pack it together and then prepare to bring that to your next property. Because emotion really plays an important part when the buyers walked in. If they can see themselves living in the property and they feel like guests, they may feel a little bit less emotional involvement with your property. And secondly, some people make it a little bit more too religious. Nothing wrong with that again, but just understand that there are multiple religions in the world and people have their own preference, and sometimes because of something that's there is not vibing with the buyers, then they may feel like this is not really for me. Again, it's all about how they feel when they walk into the property. And the next thing that I see within this point is having a lot of stuff on the table, on the chair, like not really at least kind of organize the property when people walk in, because I've seen people even have food on the dining table, which for some buyers, maybe even most buyers, when they come into a house, what we want to make them feel like is, this is a nice space. I would say most people prefer a clean space. I mean, imagine us walking into a hotel and we're gonna be there spending a couple days, and then when we walk in, it's messy. We likely won't want to stay there anymore. A lot of time when we walk into a hotel, everything is nice and clean, and when there's people that come clean every day, we feel great about it. So I recommend for sellers, if you're looking to sell your property, ideally, if you can, at least put all of the stuff into the drawer, into the closet, or into the garage. I mean, most buyers understand that if you're selling your property, you got stuff that you gotta store away. So if it's in the closet, it's in the drawer, unlikely they'll open. And even if they were to open, see a lot of stuff in there, they understand. And especially garage, they totally understand. But make it inviting. Make it feel like you're inviting some guests to see your property, or think about you're having your high school crush come to your house, and you want to at least clean it. Right? Last but not least, difficult showings. This point is actually very, very real, and a lot of times sellers overlook, because sellers sometimes they feel like I don't want to be bothered, I don't want to having to move out or go out, or on the weekends I'd rather prefer to enjoy my time rather than having strangers or neighbors come in to look at my house. And understand that if we are selling something, imagine this, if you own a Costco, you're trying to sell stuff that's physical, and you're telling people, oh, you can buy stuff and you cannot buy online. I mean, technically you can, but just imagine if you own a Costco where you cannot come in to Costco. How would that affect the sale of that day? It would definitely take a big hit, because a lot of the items, people would like to see it in person or touch it and feel it, just like a property. And it's unfortunate sometimes the seller thinks that, oh, I'm selling, but I'm gonna do it my way. I will show it when I feel like it. I will show it when it's convenient to me. But understand that when we are selling your property, all you need is one buyer. Okay, so you don't know which buyer that is that's gonna come see your property. It could be this one that wants to see today at 1 o'clock, but because you're lazy, you don't want to show, or you're like, I want my privacy, you may lose out that buyer, and that buyer will go see something else and buy something else. On top of that, it would definitely not hurt if you have multiple buyers. That put you in an even better position, because you can negotiate with multiple buyers and get your price up, right? So definitely definitely do not overlook this point. Let more people see your property. The more that you can show it, the more likely you'll be able to sell the property. The biggest mistake that I see right now is actually a lot of people hire an agent just because they are their family or they're their friends, and they don't look at their track record. They don't look at how long they've been selling property or how many homes they have sold. And the reason why I point that out is not to bash on newer agents whatsoever. And a lot of times it's because some agents, if they don't have the experience, they may not have the courage to tell you the truth, because they want to secure that commission. They don't want to hurt your feelings. They don't want to tell you what you need to hear. Rather, they just tell you what you want to hear. And a lot of time that will stall the process, the time frame, and sometimes even the pricing that you're gonna be getting for your property. And that could really affect your ultimate goal, right? And sometimes that could even affect the relationship that you have with the agent. So I would say if you're selling your property, if you can, get a couple recommendations and see and feel on which agent can actually get the job done for you. If this video helped you understand why your home might not be selling, hit the like and subscribe and share button so this video can reach out to more people that may find this information useful. If you're thinking of selling in Southern California and you would like to have a clear plan and strategy on how do you make the move happen seamless and effortlessly, book an appointment in the link below. You will absolutely love a personalized home selling plan from my team. So book an appointment with the link below, and I will see you in the next video.